Microsoft is looking into licensing out the console name, the Xbox name, and have third party create their own original equipment manufacturer consoles,
So
right? So
what you're trying to tell me that Sony don't own the PS4 and PS5 because those consoles are manufactured by AMD? See, this is why it doesn't pay to be a pony. Because what are you talking about, Puerto Rock? And what's even more funny is the fact that Microsoft has their hands on it, and a lot of those devices have what, guys? The Steam OS, the same games that Sony is porting to the Steam Deck. But yet, that would also mean that you would have access to Steam, PlayStation games, as well as your Xbox catalog. And the fact that Microsoft has their hands on it goes to show you that exclusive games will no longer exist. GameStop with another W. It also speaks volumes in the fact that why does Microsoft and Sony even do it? They're taking manufacturing losses. I mean, at this point, you might as well have them be done by the hardware themselves and have some form of a joint venture with that because that's what they specialize in. Microsoft is just, focusing on the software in the games. Do you get what I'm saying? Because I mean, at the end of the day, if we're using this logic, then you're essentially saying that the PS4 and the PS5, because they're not manufactured by Sony, they're manufactured by AMD. So are you going to sit there and say that Sony don't own those platforms because of it? Oh, but they still got their games on it. And Microsoft is still going to have their games on Xbox as well as these new platforms. What is the argument? Because it doesn't say Xbox on it. I mean, come on, man. 3DO did it with Panasonic 3DO, right? It's the same thing. But yet you people want to sit there and complain, oh, the Sega CDI, the Sega CDX, the JVCXI. I mean, Sega has Genesis games running on it, but it was manufactured by JVC. What are we doing here, guys?
Lenovo, Acer, Asus, Dell, iBuyPower, whoever is a
And didn't I
manufacturer.
also tell you guys that consoles won't exist in the traditional sense that we know them? And we're starting to see it now. So when you guys sit there and say, oh, Microsoft's working with all these other hardware manufacturers so they can push their name out, that is only going to make more sales for them. That is the whole idea. You're saying that is not beneficial for consumers, but in reality, it really is. Oh, yeah, Sony, they never did it. Then, so you're trying to tell me that Sony put their own parts with the PS4 and PS5 because they tried to do that with the PS3, which happened to be the cell processor, and that was a complete flop. So let's not go there with that. The fact that the PlayStation uses AMD, according to Puerto Rock, Sony don't own it because it's made by a third-party manufacturer, according to his own logic. You're a big dummy.
Manufacturer of PCs and laptops and hardwares and stuff like that, Microsoft will allow them to make their own console, right? And if they can be branded as Xbox consoles, Microsoft will probably provide the operating system, and here you go. And they will build it, and they can sell Xboxes, right? So
Very similar to what they do on PC. This is very dangerous. I don't think PlayStation ponies are seeing the impact of this. You guys are trying to make it seem like it's a bad thing. This is devastating. The fact that Microsoft is even trying to get on board with this, and let's just imagine if a device starts off with the Steam OS while also having access to the Xbox OS. That is going to be a problem. That means that all the games that you're putting on PlayStation through Steam on PC will also be available on another platform that Xbox has their hands in. So what is the problem? You ponies don't want to admit that Sony only got a few more years. I'm telling you, they're done. After Intergalactic flops, I'm telling you, Sony's going to start rethinking things and they're going to have to revise their whole gaming strategy as well. It is what it is, man. Microsoft is single-handedly trying to destroy you. And what's even more funny, they don't even... It's so funny how people say, you have to destroy the competition by competing with them. Microsoft destroyed you without even... It's like that episode from Boondocks when the guy walks away, right? Somebody mentioned this to me in my comment section. And the guy's like, I'm a pony. I'm a pony. And the guy says, I'm just a gamer. And just walks away from you. Like, bro, you people are insignificant, bro. I mean, you fanboys are hurting the gaming industry, but I'm happy that Microsoft is completely changing the tides of that, and that's why these ponies have a problem, because they no longer have the power narrative. That's all it is. Microsoft single-handedly controls everything.
and say, hey, we sell an Xbox. Dell could build and manufacture and say, we sell an Xbox. So every device is an Xbox, right? So now
That's good.
Microsoft lets the hardware industry create Xboxes, which allows them to no longer.
Is that the same thing Sony does by allowing AMD to develop to manufacture PlayStation 4s and 5s, but you don't sit there and say that Sony's going third party.
Longer have to do Xbox consoles themselves. They probably will still do it, but they don't have to as long as now there's an entity doing it, right?
Which would also mean that Microsoft, or should I say the Xbox brand, ain't dead.
Simple logic. All right, I get the plan. Here's the problem.
Let's hear it.
That I was thinking to myself, the hurdle is Xbox consoles don't sell.
I mean, they sell well enough. I mean, isn't it at like 34, 35 million sales? PlayStation is in far more regions than Xbox. So for the fact that Microsoft dominates in less regions in comparison to PlayStation is actually quite impressive. 35 million is not bad. It's probably projected to sell just as well as the Xbox One did in that previous generation. Actually, I think it's probably selling a little bit better considering that generation, what was it like about that generation was pretty long, guys. You know what I'm saying? And Microsoft seems to be doing a lot better. If they can even get 40 million off the Xbox Series brand, that's Microsoft made their money. They good. That's a huge install base there.
It's not like the name Xbox in terms of console is a big seller. It doesn't sell. It never sold 100 million. The highest it did sell was 80 something million, and that was back in the 360 era. And 2 generations consecutive, the sales have been getting worse and worse.
Yeah, but let's talk about the software. PlayStation 1 sold well. Software did surprisingly well at the time. PS2, hardware-wise, sold well. But the games did it. PS3, I would go as far to say the same thing. They had a few games that stood out, like Uncharted and God of War. They still sold like the 4.5, 6, 7 million. But then you had games like Killzone that completely flopped, right? There was more flops on PlayStation than anything. Sony's best financial console was the PS4, right? Microsoft's best financial console was the Xbox 360. Nintendo's best financial console was not the Nintendo Wii, was the Switch, because it hit it in all departments. It hit it in the games, it hit it in the subscription services, it hit it even in the hardware. It hit it in all departments. You see what I'm saying? PlayStation 5, you guys can sit there and hold on to these hardware sales, but the games are selling worse than they did on PlayStation 1. It's that embarrassing, guys.
This generation Xbox console has been at its worst in terms of adoption and people willing to buy it. So I'm saying to myself, why would a third-party manufacturer jump at this chance to create hardware that people aren't buying, right? And here's the thing.
See, you're not understanding. See, this is the problem with ponies. You guys are looking at it from the lens of 1990s. You know why they focus on the Microsoft? Because Microsoft is trying to address this very similar to what Steam does by having an open OS. You see what I'm saying? That's going to gravitate towards a lot of PC gamers. That's going to gravitate to even towards console gamers, even portable gamers if they decide to make one that has the Microsoft OS on top of maybe even supporting Steam as well. So you do understand that if they do make a device like this and PlayStation is continuing to put their games on Steam, that would also mean that we will be playing PlayStation games, maybe not directly on an Xbox, right? Or should I say Xbox, but they will be playing it on a partnership of Microsoft. And I think Microsoft is doing this on purpose because they know what Sony is doing. They know Sony don't want to go this direction. Even Nintendo probably will when the time is right, but they know Sony is stubborn. So Microsoft said, oh, okay, you don't want to put games on our platform. We'll put games on your platform. But every time, let's not forget, when you put a game on Steam OS, and one of these hardware manufacturers come out with their own hardware and they allow both to coexist, Sony, you can't stop it. Now, a lot of ponies have suggested that, oh, well, PlayStation will just stop putting games on PC. I don't think so, because they're making a decent amount of profit off there. It doesn't really hurt them to do that, so why not? Microsoft is essentially forcing Sony to go third party. You guys are saying that Sony's forcing Microsoft? No, Microsoft is essentially forcing Sony. Because they know their hardware ain't worth nothing. They know their games ain't as valued as what they can provide for their audience. And they know that you guys have the worst subscription service on, well, besides Nintendo Switch, in the gaming market. They know that. Microsoft is single-handedly destroying you 13-1 in every other single category, and the only thing you guys could hold over is hardware sales. That's it.
All right, Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, they make hardware.
No, they don't. Wrong. Nintendo don't make hardware. Nintendo hasn't made hardware since ATI, which is also AMD. See, I know my stuff, brother. So it's so funny when you said, "Oh, bring them on 60 years old, no lag, no games podcast." I'll definitely own it. No, you would not, bro. Because I will come at you with so much facts you wouldn't even be able to fathom everything that I'm telling you. ATI, Nintendo GameCube, that was essentially an AMD console. Let's not forget, you guys want to say Microsoft and Sony. No, they don't. Nintendo Switch is manufactured by NVIDIA. PlayStation and Xbox is manufactured by AMD. So for you to sit there and say that Xbox is dead because they're doing it with more hardware manufacturers, if anything, they're helping gaming by doing that. Because if Microsoft does, let's say hypothetically, decides to say, wait, we're done with the Xbox brand, there will be another Xbox that'll take its place. You see? Except it'll have a different name on it, but you still have, it's essentially an Xbox still. So Microsoft was single-handedly right when they said everything is an Xbox. And what's even more funny, you can sit there and say, oh, well, it doesn't have the name. The next thing Sony gamers are going to do, well, it doesn't have the name on it, though. That's what they're going to say. Well, it's essentially still an Xbox. Like, I can literally, it has the same OS as the Xbox. But it don't have the insignia. That means they died. Bro, they're partnered with the hardware manufacturer. Just because they ain't got their name on it. So, okay, you know what? I'm going to destroy y'all right now with the ballistics. So, guys, is the JVCXI not a Sega Genesis because JVCXI manufactured it? Or is it a Sega Genesis because it plays Sega Genesis games? Y'all like, wow, games. So you know what? You see, you just destroyed the whole argument. You just destroyed it. Like, see, this is what you don't understand. Is a Panasonic 3DO still a 3DO? Yes, because it plays 3DO games. Just like the Gold Star 3DO. It's the same thing. Well, it's a different looking console, but you guys get my point. It still does what it's supposed to. Microsoft, no matter if it's Hookah Booka Baba, Xbox, PlayStation, it's playing their games. Which therefore means it's an Xbox. You see, do you understand? I really don't think you ponies get it, but it's okay.
But they make more money, or at least they're supposed to. Nintendo and PlayStation does a great job of this, which is sell software.
No. Do not put PlayStation in the same category as Nintendo, please, bro. Let please, bro. I haven't heard Nintendo drop a failure yet.
Subscriptions and all the things that comes after the console is bought. Xbox, Microsoft, in particular, is having issues with that. They're not selling enough consoles, therefore they're not getting enough software sales and all that stuff.
Because the reason why they're not getting enough software sales, and you ponies know the reason as to why, because a lot of their games are provided through Game Pass Ultimate. Why do you think people would buy games if they could already access it through their subscription service? I even have physical games, and when I see PlayStation Extra have games on it, I don't even pull out my disc. I just, oh, wow, that's convenient. I'll just use it right here. You guys know exactly what's going on. Stop the cap.
Why would
know why the software sales are low on Xbox in regards to people buying games? Because all the games that are provided are through their subscription service. Don't get mad because you have to go out and buy your games.
Party manufacturer get in the business of making consoles when they're not going to make money off of software, you know?
What do you mean? What are you talking about? What are you even saying at this point? I don't understand why these companies are doing it for Microsoft, because it's not like Microsoft's not going to get any money of it. If another manufacturer decides to make their own little portable Xbox or laptop Xbox or whatever they want to call it, partnership, anybody that subscribes to Game Pass Ultimate, Microsoft's getting that money. You want to subscribe on Amazon Fire Stick? Microsoft getting that money. You want to subscribe to I don't know, like I said, a NVIDIA Shield Xbox at this point, Microsoft's getting that money. This is what you don't understand. And what's even more crazy, they're no longer taking the losses as being a hardware manufacturer. This is another problem that goes on with developing consoles. The hardware manufacturer wants to do this for themselves. Microsoft knows that. That's why when they partnered with AMD, Sony decided to follow suit. That is when Sony made their first mistake. Sony literally lost because they made that mistake by following Microsoft for using AMD. That's when Microsoft said, "We got you, ponies. We got you. You now in our realm. You messed up." Sony put the cell processor. See, you guys don't understand gaming history. Sony made their consoles unique because they wanted to control the market. PS2 was hard to develop games for. A lot of developers said that. PS3 was very hard to develop games for, but Sony did it like that on purpose so companies can prioritize their platform over what Microsoft did with the 360 with Power PC. But then the problem stemmed from the fact that people couldn't work on it. It's very similar to what the Sega Saturn was, right? With its system, with the cell processor. So they instead opted out for the 360, which also sold very well. You see what I'm saying? Y'all not getting it, man. Like, I don't know, man. Maybe I'm just talking to a bunch of dummies, but it is what it is. Hopefully somebody will understand me.
When with these, we'll call them original equipment machines.
Oh, here we go, guys. Now we original equipment. Ay, bro. You guys just keep moving the narratives. You know, yeah, it's an Xbox, but it ain't the original equipment. Bro, I can't, bro. I can't do this no more, man. You ponies are losing it, bro. Y'all losing it. The PS5 ain't even developed, manufactured by PlayStation. It's manufactured by AMD. You might as well go tell Sony then they need to make some original equipment, based off proprietary parts that they have created and not AMD. What do you like? This is ridiculous, bruh. Now we're gonna sit there and argue about what's an original console.
OEM.
Oh my!
Original equipment manufacturer.
Original equipment.
These OEM.
Devices. Oh my god! Now at this point, y'all just fighting over brands, man. This don't even matter to most consumers.
These OEM Xboxes, when they're sold, let's say we'll use Lenovo as an example.
Okay.
When Lenovo sells this OEM Xbox, that's it. They don't make money off the sale of games.
They don't need to because they're making money off the hardware. Microsoft is essentially allowing them to make money off what they do best, and Microsoft's going to continue to make money off what they do best. It's a partnership, you big dummy. Do you think AMD gets any more money from Sony after they sell the product, or does Sony get the money? You big dummy. Like, I want to get loud with this dude because he's just so foolish. Like, bro, Microsoft is essentially saying, you do what's best for you, we do what's best for us. You want to use us and whatever to expand our brand and make everything an Xbox, go ahead. It only benefits us. So people say, we want to make our own little portable Xbox, laptop Xbox, desktop Xbox. Microsoft, can we use the likeness? Yeah, go ahead. You can even put your own name on it. Oh, bet. Okay, but just have them. But have Game Pass Ultimate. Ding, ching, 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 ching. $20. Every time somebody go buy something that ain't an Xbox, $20 going to Microsoft every single month. Microsoft get their bread, and the company get their bread for selling you the product. You see what I'm saying? There's no middleman no more. AMD or whoever, like you said, get their money for selling what they do best, and Microsoft get their money by putting your little console that you bought by getting Game Pass Ultimate. Watch Pony say, "Oh, I bought this. That means Microsoft didn't give my money for the Xbox. Microsoft already got your money. You big dummies. No matter what you guys try to do, Microsoft is always going to get money from you."
So if you buy Hogwarts Legacy 2...
Told you consoles will change. I told you games with another W. Who told you guys out of anybody in this community that the traditional sense of consoles will change? And I do think Sony will be doing this in the inevitable future because they won't be able to afford what they got going on now.
Or if people buy Grand Theft Auto 6, or they play Fortnite and pay for money transactions, Lenovo doesn't see a dime of any of that. Yeah, just like AMD don't see a dime if you pick up a PlayStation 5. All that money with the subscription for Sony goes directly to them. Bro, I can't. All they got is whatever money they made off the OEM Xbox. So why would Lenovo or Acer be involved? So this